What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with a redo, which is to say, I reacted to this tune, Nervous Breakdown by The Shrink, a long time ago in terms of my channel, which is to say, I had another channel, ran that for like over a decade, but didn't begin reacting until spring of 2022. Shortly after that, I came over to this channel, and a few months later, I'd say early or mid-fall, I think it was October of 2022, I reacted to this track. Back then, I didn't really know how to get the sound levels right. A lot of my videos are sort of over loud. I talk too much during the reaction, too many like background personal anecdotes, which can be interesting, but I don't think I was as, I didn't show as much discretion in terms of choosing which ones were more interesting. In any case, we're going to listen to the Shrink remix of The Shrink's track, Nervous Breakdown, the original version, which came out a year before this, I want to say 98. That was called the original Rohypnol mix, maybe even 97. In fact, this remix vinyl might be 98. As you will see, I do have two copies of this. I also have a different remix vinyl of Nervous Breakdown, which has only the hard house remixes, which there's two hard house remixes on this, including the Bulletproof remix, which is on the hard house version. In any case, the Shrink remix of their own tune, it was like a short live project. I think they maybe released one other track, and it was also themed around, you know, psychology or psychiatry. But this was the one that definitely hit. I think most people know the original Rohypnol mix, which it just has a slightly deeper sound than this version. I still don't have that version. I have always meant to get around to getting that one, but once I got this, it was sort of like, okay, I've got Nervous Breakdown in my arsenal, if you will. And this one does feature a cool addition, or rather alteration, to the original in the second half. So even though the original one might have a slightly deeper sound, the back half of this one is perhaps more dynamic. So let's get to it. This is a track that is fundamentally trance, like hard trance, but I know a number of techno people who like it a lot. I think there's a lot of crossover appeal, so people who maybe, indeed, I've heard some people who aren't even really into, you know, electronic music or rave music, where they've said, you know what, that's a pretty cool tune, like I like that one. So let's hear it. This is the Shrink Nervous Breakdown. It's the Shrink remix. In the moment, I'm forgetting if this vinyl is from 98 or 99, but I'll check and I'll put it in the video description. But here we go, the Shrink remix of Nervous Breakdown. Ouch. After I break my elbow. Not really.
I'm your shrink.
Tribal, like war cry feel to it. I don't know, it has this like call to arms feel. Maybe it's just making me think of David Patrick Kelly in The Warriors. I used to mix into this track with this, because you can line this up with the kick of an outgoing track, and right at the measure break, you throw it over. Devastating. this breakdown. Make sure that sounded. Sometimes one of my speakers will like sort of drop out the bass, but that didn't happen. And these rising acid gurgles. One of my friends used to call this the alarm track.
I'm your sway.
Now the original doesn't do this. The original does not do a slow down speed up. The original, again, it's a deeper, heavier tune, but it just goes into a regular speed build up here with the alarm melody playing in the back. But this part would always get a huge audience response. Like, there'd be people coming in from like other rooms like, oh shit. Good times. I would say this tune was one that got among the biggest responses of any track I ever played at a party. Darkened rave room in the 90s. And indeed, I'm remembering a friend of mine who is not a raver saying like, when I think of rave music, this is what I think of. That's fair. The acid spiking. Some crickets. That part gets people too. They're like, oh, what? Another time? It's a dance floor killer, it's a mind bender, masterpiece. Again, if it could take the slightly deeper bass sound of the original, keep the slowdown of this part, or this version, it'd be perfect. But that being said, if I had to choose, I'll take this version. I mean, what do you even say? It's massive. I don't quite get all the double brackets and periods here in the title, but no, for real, it's a classic. You know, and part of the reason I don't like my old videos, I tell too many like random anecdotes. I am going to tell one here. Not this copy, which came from Vinyl Fetish, which is it's not around anymore. There were actually multiple locations. There was one in Melrose. That one was decent, but we used to go, me and some of my DJ friends would go to a different one in North Hollywood off of Vermont. And that one I would go to a lot, get a lot of good records. I clearly got my backup or like second copy there. But this copy comes from a San Diego record store. I don't think it was United, which is a pretty famous, like, you know, trance and techno related store down there. But whatever shop it was, I was dating a girl at the time who was going to San Diego State. I still lived up in Orange County. It was one of those things where, you know, back in the day, there wasn't really the internet. It existed, but we, you know, until like the early to mid 2000s, you know, ravers weren't using it to like find releases. So you'd hear a tune, and this one, there's no sample that says Nervous Breakdown. He said, I'm Your Shrink, but that's not the name of the tune. That's the name of the artist. So it took me a while to figure out what it was. And when I finally figured it out, went to a couple record stores where I live, they didn't have it. And I remember calling my girlfriend, and she lived, you know, in like the I forget if it's like downtown, but it's a very like busy and, you know, developed part of San Diego where she lived near the university. And I was like, hey, I know there's a few record stores down there. Can you go check any and see if they have this record? She went to a couple and she found it. So this copy was bought by my girlfriend, and I guess this would have been 2000? Yeah, probably 2000. Yeah, that would make sense. So, yeah, shout out to her for getting me this original copy, and then, like I said, ultimately got this copy, or the secondary copy, and a remix vinyl, which has like hard house remixes, which are cool. I like them. They're faster, they're a bit, you know, more rugged, but the original and the Shrink remix is where it's at with this one. So anyway, I think I did this video in like, what, 5 minutes last time, so hopefully that's acceptable. But yeah, shout out to all those who've now taken an interest in my trance and techno reactions, you know, since joining my channel's activities more recently. So shout out to all you. Let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace.